Episode 16, The Federal Building. Marcus woke to the sound of Teresa's voice calling through the door. "Marcus, you awake? It's 7:30. He sat up on the narrow cot, his father's canvas bag clutched against his chest even in sleep. The back room of the Bronx Youth Alliance smelled of old paint and turpentine, morning light filtering through the high window casting geometric shadows across the concrete floor. "Yeah," he called back. "I'm up. Jimmy left coffee in the main room. And there's bagels from Goldstein's." Marcus stood, his body stiff from the restless night. He dozed in fits, jerking awake every hour to check the door, listening for footsteps, for the sound of a car engine idling outside. But the night had passed quietly. The Delucas thought they had him cornered, thought he'd accepted Sal's offer. They were waiting for Wednesday night, confident in their control. That confidence would be their mistake. He splashed water on his face from the utility sink in the corner, studying himself in the cracked mirror mounted above it. His father's face looked back at him. The same sharp cheekbones, the same dark eyes that had seen too much. 20 years ago, James Chen had stood in front of a mirror like this, preparing to confront the same men. 3 days later, he'd been dead. Marcus touched the mirror's surface, his fingertips meeting his reflections. "I won't make your mistakes," he whispered. "But I won't abandon what you started either." He picked up the canvas bag, felt its familiar weight against his shoulder, and opened the door. The main room of the Youth Alliance was empty except for Teresa, who sat at one of the long tables with a mug of coffee and a sketch pad. She looked up when Marcus emerged, her afro catching the morning light streaming through the front windows. "You look like hell," she said, not unkindly. "Feel worse?" Marcus poured coffee from the pot on the side table, added sugar, stirred it mechanically. "Where's Jimmy?" "Had to run an errand. Said he'd be back by 9. Teresa studied him over the rim of her mug. "You planning to tell me what this is really about?" Marcus took a sip of coffee, felt the heat spread through his chest. "Better if you don't know." "That bad?" "Yeah?" Teresa nodded slowly. "Jimmy said you're a good kid, said whatever you're mixed up in, it's not your fault." She paused. "He also said you're doing something brave, something that matters." Marcus sat down across from her, the canvas bag between his feet. Through the front windows, he could see 152nd Street coming alive. Bodega owners rolling up their gates, mothers walking children to school, a garbage truck rumbling past. Normal people living normal lives, unaware that in this converted warehouse, a young man was preparing to either expose a 20-year-old murder or die trying. "My father," Marcus said quietly, "died because he tried to do the right thing. I'm trying to finish what he started." Teresa reached across the table, squeezed his hand once, then withdrew. "Then I hope you make it through to the other side." They sat in silence for a while, drinking coffee, watching the street. At 8:15, Marcus checked his watch and stood. "I need to make a phone call," he said. "Private." Teresa gestured toward Jimmy's office. "Use the one in there. I'll make sure nobody bothers you." Marcus closed the office door behind him, sat at Jimmy's cluttered desk, and dialed the number Sarah Chen had given him. She answered on the second ring. "Chen, it's Marcus." "Good morning." Her voice was crisp, professional. "Did you sleep?" "Some." "Eat something before you come. You'll need your strength." A pause. "Are you still committed to this?" Marcus looked at the canvas bag leaning against the desk leg. "Yes." "Then listen carefully. When you arrive at the Federal Building, go to the security desk and ask for Agent Mitchell. He'll be expecting you. He'll escort you to the 26th floor. Don't take the elevator alone. Don't talk to anyone else. Understood?" "Understood, Marcus." Sarah's voice softened slightly. "What you're doing today takes courage, but courage without caution gets people killed. Follow the protocols exactly. Don't improvise." "I won't." "See you at 9. The line went dead. Marcus replaced the receiver, stared at the phone for a long moment. In 12 hours, he would be standing on Pier 47 with a wire taped to his chest, surrounded by Deluca enforcers, who would kill him without hesitation if they discovered the device. The FBI would be watching, listening, waiting for enough evidence to move in. But if something went wrong, if the wire was discovered, if the signal failed, if the Delucas decided to search him before he could get them talking, he would die before the FBI could intervene. He picked up the canvas bag, slung it over his shoulder, and walked back into the main room. Teresa looked up from her sketchpad. "You okay?" "I have to go." "Will you come back?" Marcus thought about Pier 47, about the wire, about all the ways this could end badly. "I don't know." Teresa stood, walked over to him, and surprised him by pulling him into a brief hug. "Then I hope I see you again," she said. "And I hope whatever you're fighting for is worth it." "It is," Marcus said. "It has to be." He left through the front door this time. There was no point in stealth anymore. The Delucas thought they knew his movements, thought they had him controlled. Let them think that. Let them be confident. The morning air was cold and sharp, carrying the smell of car exhaust and fresh bread from the bakery 2 blocks down. Marcus walked to the subway station at 149th Street, descended into the familiar underground world of tile and fluorescent light. A downtown train arrived within minutes. He boarded, found a seat, and watched the Bronx blur past through the scratched windows. The canvas bag sat on his lap, his hands resting on it protectively. Inside were his father's photographs, his father's notes, his father's voice on cassette tape. 20 years of evidence, 20 years of waiting for justice. The train rattled through the darkness, stopping at 138th, 125th, 96th. Marcus watched the passengers flow on and off. Secretaries in neat dresses, construction workers with lunch pails, students with books. All of them oblivious to the young man carrying evidence that could bring down one of New York's most powerful crime families. At 42nd Street, Marcus transferred to the crosstown shuttle, then caught the downtown local to Foley Square. When he emerged at street level, the federal building loomed above him, a massive stone and glass structure that spoke of institutional power and bureaucratic might. Marcus stood on the sidewalk for a moment, looking up at it, feeling suddenly very small. Then he thought of his father's face in the factory fire, of Robert and Diane beaten unconscious, of Sal Benedetto's smug confidence that Marcus could be bought or intimidated. He climbed the steps and pushed through the heavy doors. The lobby was all marble and echoes, security checkpoints, and metal detectors. Marcus approached the desk where a uniformed guard sat reading a newspaper. "I'm here to see Agent Mitchell." The guard looked up, studied Marcus with professional disinterest. "Name?" "Marcus Chen." The guard picked up a phone, spoke quietly into it, then nodded. "He'll be right down. Wait over there." He gestured toward a row of chairs against the wall. Marcus sat, the canvas bag on the seat beside him, and watched the lobby traffic. FBI agents in suits strode past purposefully. Lawyers carried briefcases. A woman in handcuffs was escorted by 2 marshals toward an elevator. The machinery of federal justice, grinding forward with mechanical precision. After 5 minutes, a tall man in his 40s approached. Black, with close-cropped hair and a no-nonsense expression. He wore a dark suit and carried himself with the controlled confidence of someone who'd seen everything. "Marcus Chen?" Marcus stood. "Yes. Agent Mitchell, follow me." They walked to a bank of elevators away from the main traffic. Mitchell pressed the call button, then turned to Marcus. "You're doing a brave thing," he said quietly. "Stupid, maybe, but brave." "My father did the same thing 20 years ago," Marcus said. "It got him killed. We know." Mitchell's expression softened slightly. "Sarah Chen briefed us. We read the evidence. What happened to your father was a failure of the system. We're trying to make sure it doesn't happen again." The elevator arrived. They stepped inside, and Mitchell pressed the button for the 26th floor. As the doors closed, Marcus felt his stomach tighten. This was it. Once he stepped off this elevator, once they fitted him with the wire, there would be no turning back. The elevator rose smoothly, the floor numbers ticking past. Mitchell stood with his hands clasped in front of him, silent and watchful. At 26, the doors opened onto a corridor that smelled of coffee and old paper. Mitchell led Marcus past a series of offices with frosted glass doors, then stopped at room 2604. He knocked twice, then opened the door. The room was small and windowless, dominated by a conference table where 3 people sat waiting. Sarah Chen looked up as they entered, a woman in her early 40s with sharp eyes and an expression that suggested she didn't suffer fools. Next to her sat a younger man in shirt sleeves, a technical kit open in front of him. And at the head of the table sat a silver-haired man in an expensive suit who radiated authority. "Marcus," Sarah said, standing. Thank you for coming. This is Special Agent Davidson. She gestured to the silver-haired man. And Technical Specialist Rodriguez. The younger man nodded. They'll be running tonight's operation. Davidson studied Marcus with the same clinical assessment Marcus had seen in doctors' eyes when they examined patients. Sit down, Mr. Chen. Marcus took a chair across from them, setting the canvas bag on the table. All three stared at it. That's the evidence? Davidson asked. Marcus nodded. Sarah reached for the bag, then paused. May I? Yes. She opened it carefully, removing the photographs one by one and spreading them across the table. Men loading trucks at the docks. Black Cadillacs parked outside warehouses. Faces Marcus didn't recognize, but that made Sarah's expression harden. Then she pulled out the notebook, opened it to the first page, and read silently. Jesus, she breathed. He documented everything. Dates, times, license plates. This is a 20-year-old case, Davidson interrupted. Which is why we need current evidence. Mr. Rock Chen, what happened to your father is a tragedy. But what you're carrying won't be enough to convict anyone today. The statute of limitations, witness availability, chain of custody issues, it's all compromised. I know, Marcus said. That's why I'm here. Davidson leaned forward. Sarah tells me the Delucas have given you a deadline. Wednesday night, 9 p.m., Pier 47 in Red Hook. Is that correct? Yes. And they believe you're going to show up, hand over the evidence, and tell them who else knows about it? They think they've intimidated me into cooperating. I let them think that. A thin smile crossed Davidson's face. Smart. Overconfident criminals make mistakes. He glanced at Rodriguez. Can you wire him? Yes, sir, Rodriguez said. Standard body wire should be undetectable under clothing, as long as he's not strip searched. They won't search me, Marcus said. They think I'm cooperating. They think I'm scared. Are you scared? Davidson asked. Marcus met his gaze. Terrified. But I'm doing this anyway. Davidson nodded slowly. Good. Fear keeps you careful. Overconfidence gets you killed. He turned to Sarah. Walk him through the operational parameters. Sarah pulled out a folder, opened it to reveal a map of Red Hook with Pier 47 marked in red. Here's how this works, she said. We'll have agents positioned in 3 locations around the pier. Here, here, and here. She pointed to spots on the map. They'll have visual on the meeting site and recording equipment to capture audio from your wire. Your job is simple. Get them talking. Get them to admit to current criminal activity. Extortion, threats, conspiracy to commit murder, anything that gives us grounds for immediate arrest. And if they discover the wire, Marcus asked, then we move immediately, Davidson said. But Mr. Chen, I won't lie to you. If they discover that wire before we have sufficient evidence and they decide to act before we can intervene, there's a window, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, where you'll be on your own. I understand. Do you? Davidson's voice was hard. Because understanding intellectually and understanding viscerally are 2 different things. These men killed your father. They beat your friends unconscious. If they discover you're wearing a wire, they will kill you without hesitation. And we might not be able to stop them in time. The room fell silent. Marcus looked at the photographs spread across the table. His father's life's work, his father's death warrant. Then he looked at Davidson. My father went to the police with evidence, Marcus said quietly. 3 days later, someone fed him into a factory machine and burned the building down. 20 years, and nobody's been held accountable. If I don't do this, if I run or hide or let them destroy this evidence, then he died for nothing. And they'll keep killing people who get in their way. So yes, I understand, and yes, I'm still doing this. Davidson studied him for a long moment, then nodded. All right, Rodriguez, wire him up. Sarah, brief him on the talking points we need. Mitchell, coordinate with the surveillance teams. I want everyone in position by 8 p.m. He stood. Mr. Chen, you have 12 hours until the meeting. I suggest you spend them preparing mentally. Because tonight, you're going to walk into a room with men who want you dead, and you're going to convince them to confess to crimes on tape. It's going to be the most dangerous thing you've ever done. I know, Marcus said. Davidson paused at the door. Your father would be proud of you. Or horrified. Maybe both. After he left, Rodriguez gestured for Marcus to stand. Take off your shirt, he said. Let's get you fitted. Marcus pulled off his jacket and shirt, standing bare-chested in the fluorescent light. Rodriguez opened his technical kit and removed a small device about the size of a cigarette pack, trailing thin wires. "This is a body wire," Rodriguez explained. "State of the art. The microphone is here," he pointed to a tiny node, "and the transmitter broadcasts to our receivers within a half-mile radius. I'm going to tape it to your chest, right here." He touched a spot below Marcus's sternum. "The wires run up to the microphone, which will position near your collar. Under a shirt and jacket, it's virtually invisible." He worked quickly and efficiently, taping the device in place, running the wires, testing the connections. Marcus stood still, feeling the foreign weight against his skin, the adhesive tape pulling at his chest hair. "How does it feel?" Rodriguez asked. "Strange. You'll get used to it. The key is to act natural. Don't touch it, don't adjust it, don't think about it. Just have a conversation like you normally would. Can you do that?" Marcus thought about Pier 47, about Sal Benedetto's confident smile, about the enforcer with the boxer's nose. "I can do that?" Rodriguez handed him his shirt. "Put this back on. Let me see how it looks." Marcus dressed, tucking the shirt in, pulling on his jacket. Rodriguez circled him, examining the fit from different angles. "Perfect," he said. "You can't see anything. Just remember, no sudden movements, no wrestling around. If that tape comes loose, the wire could shift and become visible." "Understood." Sarah stood, gathering the photographs back into the canvas bag. "We're keeping the original evidence here," she said. "Chain of custody. But we've made copies for you to bring tonight. Good enough to fool them at a glance, but if they examine them closely, they'll realize they're duplicates." "They won't examine them," Marcus said. "They'll be too busy trying to get me to tell them who else knows." "Which brings us to the script," Sarah said. She pulled out a notepad. "We need you to steer the conversation in specific directions. First, get them to admit they know who you are and why you're there. Second, get them to reference your father's death. Ideally, get them to admit they killed him. Third, get them to make threats against you or your friends. Fourth, get them to discuss their current operations, protection rackets, drug distribution, anything that establishes ongoing criminal enterprise." "That's a lot to accomplish," Marcus said. "You don't need to get all of it. Any one of those elements captured on tape gives us grounds for arrest. Multiple elements give us a stronger case. But don't push too hard. If you seem like you're interrogating them, they'll get suspicious." Marcus nodded. "I'll do my best." Sarah handed him a business card with a phone number written on it. "This is my direct line. If anything changes, if you need to abort, call me immediately. We'll extract you." "Thank you." She looked at him with something that might have been sympathy. "I've been building this case for 2 years, Marcus. Every time I think we're close, the Delucas slip away. Witnesses recant. Evidence disappears. Cops turn out to be on their payroll. But tonight, we have a chance to finally put them away. Not just for your father's murder. The statute of limitations makes that difficult, but for everything they've done since, you're giving us that chance." "I'm giving my father that chance," Marcus said. "He deserves justice." "Yes," Sarah said quietly, "he does." Mitchell appeared in the doorway. "Surveillance teams are briefed and ready. We'll be in position by 8 p.m. Davidson returned, his expression all business. "Mr. Chen, we're done here for now. Go home, or wherever you're staying. Rest if you can. Be at Pier 47 at 9 p.m. sharp. We'll be watching." Marcus picked up the canvas bag, lighter now, containing only copies, and slung it over his shoulder. The wire pressed against his chest, a constant reminder of what he was about to do. "One more thing," Davidson said as Marcus reached the door. "If this goes bad, if they discover the wire and things turn violent, hit the ground immediately. Get flat, cover your head, and stay down. We'll come in shooting, and we won't have time to be careful about crossfire. Understand?" "I understand. Good luck, Mr. Chen." Marcus left the federal building at 10:30, stepping back into the November morning with a wire taped to his chest and 11 hours until he faced his father's killers. The city moved around him. Taxis honking, pedestrians rushing past, street vendors calling out their wares. Normal life continuing obliviously while Marcus walked toward what might be his death. He found a payphone on Worth Street and dialed the Bronx Youth Alliance. Jimmy answered on the third ring. "It's Marcus," he said. "I'm done with my meeting. I'm coming back." "Good," Jimmy said. "Teresa's worried about you. Hell, I'm worried about you. I'll be there in an hour. He hung up and started walking toward the subway, the wire a secret weight against his skin, his father's copied evidence heavy on his shoulder. Tonight at Pier 47, he would either expose a 20-year-old murder and bring down a crime family, or he would die trying. Either way, he was ready. 11 hours until Pier 47. 11 hours until everything changed.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.